Cleaning my camera. Hopefully nobody had a seizure.
Yeah, that was a little bit rough.
Looks like I'm having to admit people here. So,
Oh, okay.
Hi guys.
hey,
Hey, Jay.
Jalen.
Dude,
Looks
I don't know why it's requiring a passcode. This is the same link we've always used.
it's requiring a passcode again.
Yeah, but I just barely sent an email out to everybody. Oh, maybe not.
No, I'm good. I'm
No
in.
passcode needed. All right.
Okay,
Yeah.
awesome.
Okay, good. We had an issue with our Zoom on our producer call last night that,
I'm shocked. I'm
yeah.
completely shocked that he had issues with Zoom. Dude,
Unbelievable.
I know. Just like,
Surrounded by Google people, sounds like.
right, right. Guys, I'm so sorry to hear this is the last meeting. And when I heard you say that, I understand. Like I
Yeah,
understand. Yeah, because I mean, when it comes to like what's coming up next, you got
yeah,
like major income coming up from like way other bigger sources than us. But
yeah.
I gotta tell you, I was a little sad to hear that because I kind of like this.
But
Just like,
that's what I think we said, and that we'll probably keep you guys updated and or to stay connected because we'll probably do like quarterly meetings. Just
yeah, that
that
would be
way we can
cool.
get more going and really put that energy there. And
Right.
it might seem like, well, it's only once a month on top of
Well,
all the other.
everything else, all the travel you guys are doing. So,
Yeah.
so, 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 so just for the record, before you get into your stuff, like I, I'm interested in having an offline discussion with whoever has time
Okay.
for how I can be more involved.
Awesome. We
Right.
love
Yeah,
that.
I'm a data analyst. I'm a Power BI guy. I'd be really sad to just be like, I don't know, man. But I know everyone's going to see me
Yeah,
talking about this because you're recording it. Blah blah
that's all
blah.
right. I
Hi
mean,
everyone. I don't know exactly, but I'm a little sad. But I just want to say, hey, if there's
yeah,
if there's someone appropriate at the right time where I could have an offline conversation with, I'd love to stay in contact with you guys for real.
yeah, I would love
So
to do that. And let me
okay,
just let me just back that up and say that's the value of the community round is it's more than just people putting capital behind it. It's like
right,
how else can it's a community. How else can we accomplish
right,
these, big
right,
audacious ideas together because it we are really trying to, as you guys know, we're trying to change something in a system that has been
right,
corrupted for so long that
right.
cannot be fixed the normal way. Um,
Correct. I
which
agree.
is, which is
All right.
more
So
big corporate business.
what I'll do is I might ping you, AJ,
Yeah.
later, and I know you're busy and I get it, but if you
No,
want to
no,
forward
please
me to
do.
whoever, that's totally fine.
Yeah, yeah.
No
Yep.
worries.
No, you and I will connect. I appreciate that. I
Okay,
mean,
sounds good.
Yeah,
if people
we've got
have,
plenty of data to analyze. This will be
yeah,
potentially
That's
great.
right up my alley, guys.
yeah,
Right up
love
my
it.
alley.
Good.
That's good to hear.
Awesome. All right, I'll go on mute and save everyone my nasal voice. Okay,
No, I
later.
love it. Thank you, Paul. Appreciate it. And you've been here every time, and we do appreciate that because,
I missed one. I missed
oh, you
one.
did.
Yeah,
Okay.
I did.
Okay.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, yeah. So, I mean, this is what it's about. So that was not disruptive at all. I'm glad Paul mentioned that. This will be our last scheduled call, but keep connected with us because as we feel like there's some, valuable things to share with you all, we'd love to throw another Zoom out there and have you guys join us for those. Um, and then the other thing too is there's been questions about when payouts are coming. So a couple things we want to go over with that is where you can find that information. It was all of that was made very clear in your investor contracts, which are in your WeFunder account. So when you go to WeFunder and log in, at your profile button in the top, you click the profile button, and then it says portfolio, right? Uh, Brigham. It says, portfolio. And then when you click on that, it'll show you any other WeFunder investments you've ever participated in. If you haven't done any others, it's only going to have us there. But you click that and then you can download your contract and see. Now, with all of that said, I'm going to tell you how it works. So, quarterly, you'll receive a payout, which um, some people, if you put $100 in, you got like 27 cents or something like that. And of course, then so it's at whatever percentage you invested in, whether you did the early investment at 2.5% or you did the later investment at 2%. But our goal is to go ahead, Brigham.
2 times, 2.5 times.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. 2 times. So 2.5x or 2x, depending on when you got in on that scale. And then our goal is to, get it back to you as fast as possible. Hopefully in 5 years, you guys are paid out, and that's a great investment to 2.5x or 2x your investment in 5 years. That would be fantastic. So that's our goal, but that's how that works. And so with that said, be sure to go through the process and you'll be able to download your contract and see that. Now, if you invested in October, uh, um, explain that one more time, Brigham. I'll let you explain that. My brain is swimming.
Yeah, so the way the revenue share works with WeFunder is it starts a year after your investment. And to be perfectly clear, I'm not certain the inside workings of WeFunder. They've explained it 2 different ways. Uh, so first of all, I'm curious, everybody on the call, have you received your first payout yet? Paul has,
Great.
Amy, and I see somebody logged in as a number. Either of you care to comment if you've received a first payout yet?
I have.
Awesome. Okay. The way I think it works is everybody gets paid out every quarter, regardless of when you invested. The way it may work is if you invested in a few months later, you might not get that very first payout. Your payouts might start about a year after you invested. And that's the way the contract reads is your first payout date is a year after your investment date. However, some people may start getting paid earlier just because it keeps it simpler for WeFunder. So we look at our last quarter's gross revenue, send 15% of that to WeFunder, and then they split it out amongst all the investors. And so every quarter, like AJ's explaining, that will happen. We'll take the prior quarter's gross revenue, send 15% to WeFunder, and they will distribute it. They want it to be clear that it could take them up to 2 weeks to distribute that. And so it won't necessarily be the exact same day of the month each quarter that they get around to it. This time they were fairly quick. I mean, we're late in the month, but they were fairly quick from the time they received the funds from us to the time they got them distributed.
Yeah.
So
And
one last thing, AJ, the first one will be tiny as the company grows, and then the payments should get larger and larger and larger until you've received either 2 times or 2.5 times your money back. And then, you've got the monetary reward.
It was half a beer.
nice. Yeah. Well, and all I was going to add to that was that I might have just lost what I was going to add to that, so it didn't matter. No, it's good. I cut you off. So, the only delay on our end was us learning the process of getting it to them. We now know how that works, so we'll get it to them right away, and you'll get paid out within that 2 weeks. So,
Yeah, that first
that's,
wire transfer took some extra verification that burned up a couple days.
yeah. So, okay, cool. So let's jump into the things we're doing here to try to get you that investment back faster and to grow the company. So, right now I'm actually back in Washington, D.C. I think I've shared with you guys before that policy work is something that we felt important because if we build a platform for people to sell food on, but in your particular state or county or whatever, you're not allowed to sell that food, then what good are we actually doing? And so being involved in policy, not to mention our farms have been destroyed for decades. And so we're very aware of this because we are producers. Brigham works on a farm. My family are all farmers. Brooke is family's ranchers. So we understand these issues that we've been dealing with. And so we've been very vocal and involved in policy work. But where it comes into play that we're starting to see that might come into play for us is potentially being involved in the opportunity to participate in grant dollars that help us scale the platform, whether it's educating consumers, right? So one of the issues that we face as a nation is consumers have become separated from their food supply. So many people just don't even know how to buy or what to ask a farmer, where to find them, which is why we're building our platform. And so we believe that there should be a nationwide direct-to-consumer education, or I should say farm and consumer education to teach people how to do that. Because the amount of times we hear on social media, how do we buy? And we're like, we're here to help that. But also on the producer side, the numbers, the way they work out is 85% of the farmers and ranchers in our nation are considered small. That's the USDA's data. Small means $350,000 a year in revenue or less. That's what they consider small. And that's 85% of our producers that remain in America. They're only doing that volume. What that also means is any conversation you guys hear about exports does not serve 85% of the producers. Why? Because they don't produce enough to even participate in that market. That's why direct to consumer is so important to save our family farms and ranches, because they need that retail dollar. Now, food is expensive, or there's the assumption that food is expensive, but if you buy a latte, that latte is more money than a pound of ground beef. So that's also where consumer education comes in. Are you prioritizing where it needs to be prioritized? And that's not to say we're telling people they're, your behaviors are wrong. We're not, that's not what we're here to say, but educating people on that is important. Also, we've learned in our family that we buy 80% of our food local. And while we pay more to the farmer for that beef than the cheap stuff at the store, or the cheaper stuff at the store, when we prep the meals, we usually get another 1 or 2 meals out of that, actually, right? We have leftovers. And so those leftovers are great, but also our budget, my wife said, well, our budget isn't actually that much higher because we're cooking at home a lot more. So this is like all encompassing in the education that needs to be out there. And if somebody's chronically ill and they can't figure out why, and they learn that processed food is why, then we can hopefully educate them on buying higher quality food will help any chronic illness that you're dealing with and so forth, which is also some meetings. I was out here in DC last week with the Secretary of HHS, who's doing a lot in, food nutrition side. And look, we can all have different opinions about things that people are doing. We're focused on farming. We're focused on food and farming. So just to say that up front, but we had a meeting with him and Secretary Rollins and Dr. Oz and Dr. Ben Carson about food as nutrition from farms that are doing certain practices that make that food higher quality, right? So these are the things that we're participating in. And as they learn that, hey, yes, the consumer doesn't know, we need to roll out a campaign to educate consumers. My proposal was it needs to be taken as seriously as Victory Gardens were promoted during World War II, because we're losing them. And so if they get behind that, then maybe we can participate in some sort of public-private partnership that allows us to expand our reach, because we already have the momentum. We've got the technology and the platform built. But most importantly, on top of software, because we're producers, we know what this producers need as a solution, right? That's really what our level of understanding is here. So we're looking at that as a way to help scale the company without having to lose control. And I've shared in the past why that matters. Okay, so in addition to that, we've started doing we've rolled out software as a service. So we have 5 producers that are now paying to be paid producers, pro level, we call it. And so you're going to see the website getting some updates over the next month or so, where when you go to fromthefarm.org, at the very top, the first bar of producers that you're going to see are the pro level producers. So that's one of the values we offer them as a pro level, is they get priority feature. The reason that we're doing that is because that when they pay a monthly subscription, or if they pay for the full year in advance and become a pro level producer, that gives our onboarding team more man hours, essentially, to really get to know them and their operations so that we can put our name behind them. And that's what we're telling consumers, because we have had a couple of consumers, not many, but we've had a couple of consumers purchase from a farm to find out that that farm didn't actually grow the product, or the way they described the product wasn't entirely accurate. And we're building we're trying to build a trusted platform that when you buy from here, you can have the trust in the producer. So we just had to add another layer of verification, if that makes sense. And so that's one value they get. They also get access to additional tools that we've invested in. Like a producer, for example, can take a 5 pound package of ground beef and set it up as a monthly subscription. So you as the consumer might say, yeah, I easily consume 5 pounds of ground beef a month. I'd rather just set it up on auto ship and it'll just come to me every, 1 through 8 weeks. They can customize that however they want so that you as the consumer can say, send me 10 pounds every 2 months. And then it just shows up. You get auto billed, it auto ships. You get notified, of course, as the consumer that it's coming. But that's an added feature under the pro level. This is standard practice on any of the platforms that serve producers at this level. But that's one of the reasons they would become a pro level. We also rolled out what we call mirroring. Mirroring allows them to run their from the farm store on their own.com. So if I have ajsbeef.com and I'm doing all of my own marketing efforts, I don't want to send people to an ecosystem where Paul comes in there, I did the marketing, he comes to fromthefarm.org and then gets distracted by brighamsbeef.com. It was my marketing efforts. I want to capture that, right? So we rolled out mirroring so that when you go to ajsbeef.com and click shop, you're using From the Farm's tool, but you're staying on ajsbeef.com, so they don't have to worry about losing that customer in the ecosystem. And it also gives them the ability to manage all of their inventory in one spot versus having to have two ERPs, two different softwares to manage two different, inventories. That was a request from our producers a long time ago. We built it, rolled it out. So those kinds of things live under the pro level, really to incentivize them and serve them to why they would want to become a pro level producer. So software as a service is one of our sources of revenue. We also rolled out small commissions in shipping. So because of our aggregated buying power on shipping service, we have brought shipping costs down for them, and there still was enough margin for us to add a couple of dollars, I think, or it's a percentage. So when a customer goes to check out and they pay the shipping fee, it's been lowered enough that we still have enough where we can earn a little bit on shipping, if that makes sense. And then we also rolled out a standard 3% consumer fee at checkout. So when they check out, it's a small 3% that just helps us run the platform. And so these are all areas that revenue is starting to come in, and why we see your payoff will start climbing as we increase traffic and sales and all those things on the platform. So we've got those things coming in. We are actively exploring on the logistics side, being able to aggregate packaging by volume. This is going to take us a little bit of time to figure out logistics on how to do that, but what we're looking at is, we've got almost 100 producers across the nation on From the Farm. If they're shipping their products, they need boxes, they need insulation, they need gel packs. So again, more buying power gives us the ability to buy those packages at a better price than they can get on their own, and there would be margin in there for us to earn revenue on packaging supplies. So that's another feature. We're also I'll use the word exploring, but we're working on wholesale as well. So as we've got some producers on our platform that do raise enough product that they need to not just sell direct to consumer. They've got maybe they have a small family feedlot. Maybe is a bad word for some, but others like corn and grain finished beef. So they might be finishing 1,000 head a year, but currently it's going into auction. So they can't sell it all. They don't have a buyer, so they take it to the auction, and then the big companies buy it, and they make all the money. Well, one of the conversations we're having right now, we'll see where this lands, and again, this is why it's exploratory. We've connected this producer on our platform with a burger company. They do burger joints, right? And they may need 100,000 pounds to serve all their burger joints a month. We make those connections. in that side, while we don't take a commission from the direct to consumer side, that's our commitment, our mission is that the direct to consumer, the producer keeps 100% of that retail dollar. That's what makes us unique in this marketplace. It's our producer mindset, producer first mindset. But in the wholesale side, there will be a commission because more effort on our side, moving more volume, and they are happy to pay a commission if we can help them move 100,000 pounds a month because they are going to have to pay that anywhere else. Uh, and we set those relationships. So that's another area that we're developing where we can help move wholesale volumes. So again, more sources of revenue, and that's the vision behind From the Farm is how do we use our ecosystem to drive revenue in multiple areas so that we're not taking it all from one area that leaves that farmer without enough revenue to continue to do business, right? And so those are all the things that we're working on and developing that that have momentum. It's just a matter of how they'll work themselves out as we work to scale the business. So um, we are seeking a much larger investment right now. We're Brigham, before I say this, because I don't want to get in trouble, I think we can let them know legally.
Um,
I don't want to get in trouble with the the SC, FTC, SEC, one of them.
SEC. Yeah, we cannot advertise like an open round or anything, but we can let everybody know that we're doing a round.
Okay.
So, yeah, so that should be fine.
Yeah, so we're doing a round. It's an equity play to help us raise. We're looking for $5 million to scale the company. And when we raise that, that's going to allow us to put, solid teams behind each of these divisions and really drive forward what we're doing. So we've been actively talking to different investors. We're coming back out in November to talk to a group, back out to DC. They're having a meeting here to see if we can get it from them. I just got a text that somebody at a big bank asked a friend of ours, why isn't somebody building a software to cut out all the middlemen and help producers go right to consumers? And they came from a big bank, and I was like, and he sent me the screenshot because he said there is, and he added our business there, which I'm like, yes, now make the connection so we can follow up and maybe get it there. But that's why we're seeking the next round of investment so that we can put strategic people in each of these divisions. Some of them we already know that we want to hire. We've already had conversations with them. They know we're just waiting for this investment that they do really good in some of these areas we've been talking about, like in the packaging, like in the wholesale side where they can be brought in as a team member and really just that's their lane to focus on, now execute. And so all of that's looking pretty hopeful for us. So yeah. I talk really fast, and so I went over a lot here. So if you guys have any questions, ask them, and then if my other thoughts pop up in my head, then I will definitely jump in and mention those. But that's what we've been working on. Maybe I'll share a little bit more on the policy side. So I'm in DC. There was supposed to be a big announcement. It kind of got botched, but the announcement was made, just not publicly. A lot of the policies that we have been working on with the USDA and other agencies have finally been put out there. In fact, let me see if I can jump in here real quick and find a link. Yeah, there we go. I'll drop this in the chat and you guys can click on it. Let me just make sure that opens. Yes, it does. Okay, so that many of those points in that document are the things that we have been working on with the different producers that we have brought to DC to have conversations with the different agencies that will help them. And so just so you guys kind of know the work we've been doing on that end. We do have we're going to work on setting up a nonprofit so that it's tax deductible, but we currently have a non-tax deductible donation link that people have been donating so that we can make these trips out here without coming out of my pocket or company development money, because basically we came out a couple of times. We said, okay, good, we got the connections. I'm in regular contact with some folks here that are in the heads of secretaries of different divisions, so that's done really well for us, because we don't represent any trade organization. We don't represent, what we do is we represent the needs of the independent farmers and ranchers. And because of that, it's gained a lot of trust with who I am and what I'm doing and what our team is up to, because we're just here to serve the individual producers. So some of those things in there I didn't have anything to do with, but a lot of those points in there we had direct engagement in. And when I say we, my job is to bring the farmers and ranchers themselves and let them advocate for themselves, because they've never been heard before and now they are. And when I say they've never been heard before, I mean that. For decades, they have not been listened to. And sometimes they come out and they get heard, but nothing follows. So we're actually seeing actions follow the words, which has been really, really neat to see. So this is why I'm out here this week, to be a part of the release and announcement of all this. And so we're just grateful to see that momentum. So when I talk about potential public-private partnerships, we're hoping that comes back into From the Farm in some aspect. At some point, I think, because they've done it in the past, opening up new markets. There has been grants available to open up new markets in different states. And so that's what From the Farm is. We are a new market. If we can, if we get a grant for, pick the state, right? Well, I'm in Wyoming. Let's say Wyoming comes out with a new market access grant. Well, we can apply for that, because that's exactly what From the Farm is doing, is a new market, a competitive marketplace. So, see, I said I didn't have anything else to say, and then I just went on for another 5 minutes before anybody asked a question. So, do you guys have any questions? If you do, you can go ahead and jump off. Yeah, Paul, please. Thank you.
Dare I ask about the position of From the Farm on the idea of importing from Argentina to lower the prices? Would you see that as a bridge while these other policies take place to get domestic supply up? Or do you see that ultimately being a problem for keeping American producers in business at the proper margin?
Great question. That is a big part of why I'm here, because when that was announced, it just went nuclear. It's actually terrible. Now, do I know all the strategies that this president is also working on? Does Argentina attach to something else that's good for us or not? I have no idea. But what I do know is that the cost of inputs for farmers is why the price of beef is what it is. Fuel costs are high, seed costs are high, feed costs are high. All of these things are high, right? And let me just share this. In 1980, in the 80s, I don't know exactly which year, but in the 80s, adjusted for inflation, the price of beef is the same as it was then. The difference is, in the 80s, a pickup truck was $38,000, but a pickup truck now is $120,000, right? So to bring down the price of beef by bringing in more imports, I think what we're going to see as the consumers is that it doesn't actually affect overall the price of beef, because the reality is we're importing way more beef from other countries, and we have been for so long as it is, that the number of the volume that's coming in from Argentina isn't really enough to affect that. And actually, the folks that are importing that beef are the big companies, the big four companies, and they're going to sell it for what they want anyway. What would help the farmers and ranchers is mandatory country of origin labeling. In other words, informing the consumers when they go to the grocery store that this is from Brazil, this is from South Africa, this is from America. You can pay more for American beef because you know it's from America and it's a higher quality, or you can as an informed consumer, you can say, well, this is all I can afford, so I'll buy the Brazilian beef, which most people are buying now anyway, and they don't know it. But informing the consumers and letting them choose. The reason that mandatory country was origin labeling was repealed in 2015 has to do with the World Trade Organization, and there was some issues there. And so it got repealed, and we don't know where it's coming from typically when we go to the store. The only way you would know is if you go to the store, grab the package, and that USDA bug, everything has it's a circle on, and I know meat more than anything else. So the circle that's on that package will have a number on it. And if you go look up that number, it'll tell you the packaging plant that it came from. And then you can kind of, this is how complicated it is. You can do your own investigation on that processing plant and figure out if it's Cargill, Tyson, JBS, Morfrig. And if it is one of those, then it's not from here, most likely. Not always, but most likely, right? Because they are buying beef at the auctions, but they're importing a lot more than what they're buying. So, yes.
So if I heard you correctly, as you know, as an investor in this initiative, I'm obviously and will always be very pro-American producer. So you know that right off the bat.
Yep.
However, I did hear you say that it kind of doesn't make a difference because the Argentinian thing or whatever this topic is that hit the interwebs recently. I hear you correctly that it's not really going to make a difference because it's the big guys that are getting it anyway. It doesn't affect the pricing, blah, 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 blah. And so that being said, if I can grab onto that sentence taken perhaps out of
Yep.
context, right? If I can grab onto that, if you guys spend your efforts working on that mandatory country of origin and the other cost things that are going on, is it the end of the world if the current regime decides they want to do this for political points XYZ if it doesn't really affect things at the foundation?
Yeah, the way it affects our small producers is, well, I've been since the Argentina announcement, I've had hundreds of texts from ranchers because they know what we're doing. And a friend of mine called me today. His price of beef went from he could sell his cows for $3,000 a head, and as of today, they're only worth $2,400. So it cost him $600 a head. That's the effect. And so the risk is that now our farmers and ranchers are going to go, more of them are going to go bankrupt because it affected the market, but it isn't actually going to affect the consumer yet. Is the
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay, now that clarifies what you
The
said. Now I
consumer,
understand.
yes.
Yeah,
Yep.
because I have not been, I'm aware of the topic, but I have not devoted the time to
Yeah.
get into it like you guys have. So,
Yeah,
okay.
for sure. Yeah, great question. I'm glad you asked. Again, education is a big part of what we're trying to do here and help people understand how our food system is or isn't working for our, and for us, listen, this all started because our primary concern is having access in America. If we are wholly dependent on foreign imports, that's not a stable country. And so that's why a competitive marketplace needs to exist. The 3.5 years of R&D we did before we started building this software, that term, competitive marketplace, came up every single time, which is what we knew we were building, we were going to build. Now, the mechanics of it is the challenge, right? So it's like, okay, build a competitive marketplace. Well, there's a lot to that. There's logistics, there's marketing, there's software, there's all the things. But competitive marketplace came up from every single one of the people that we spoke to. And so it's like, okay, we've got to do this. Because we are a net importer of food at this point in our history. And so you'll see in that document as you go through, there's discussions about how to increase the marketing. There's discussions about how to get more farmers and ranchers back into farming, where they should come from. That's a high level document because a lot of this stuff, the details are being worked out, whether it's most of it's because of legal challenges that lots of people here in DC are working on behind the scenes, but that is a lot of the things that are being worked on. So it's kind of a high level. Here's the things we're working on. Some of it's faster than others. Like for example, there's a section in there that we really championed, which was increasing access to public land grazing. I don't know if I've ever shared this with you guys before, but um, uh, public land ranchers, so like on Bureau of Land Management, which is under the Department of Interior, or U.S. Forest Service, which is under the USDA, those ranchers have been losing the numbers of cows they've been allowed to graze for decades. We're essentially we're down 10 million what they call AUMs. That means animal units a month. That means one mama cow, one baby cow. So in our history, we used to have 10 million more than they're allowed to do now. And that's because of lots of different reasons. I won't go into all the details there, but they get taken away and they've not been given back. So now we're working on getting those back so that we can rebuild our domestic herd. Now, the way that impacts our public lands, we did a podcast on this. If you're interested, go to YouTube. From the Farm USA is our YouTube channel. And then at the top under the tabs, there's a tab that says live. And there's a podcast that I did with one of the gentlemen I brought out here this week. His name's Hayden Ballard. He's actually a public land attorney, and his family have been grazing on public lands for generations. So he understands this very well. But in that podcast, you'll see how floods and fires have followed the decline in the number of cows that we've been able to graze on public lands.
Is this the farms are burning episode?
Yes. Yep. So there's a lot of details in there that I was glad to have him on because he's very knowledgeable about the history of the decisions that have been made by Department of Interior and USDA that's put us where we're at. So if we want to bring beef prices down, we fix all of these policy issues so ranchers can ranch and we can increase our domestic herd, as an example, right? In the East Coast, they have a different issue. It's called CRP land, conservation something something. Basically, farms because they can't make money any way else. Environmental group comes to them and says, "Hey, if you don't do anything and let it be wild and natural and blah blah blah, we'll pay you to just not do anything." And so they've taken that out of production on the East Coast. Now, if you understand regenerative agriculture principles, and also that we used to have all kinds of wildlife, bison and so forth roaming, you would see that, well, we don't have that anymore, and the closest replacement is cattle. And the reason I say that is because what wildlife and cattle have in common is called a rumen. That's their gut. And that breaks down biological matter, which puts biology into the soil, which increases all the things that ecosystems need to thrive. So, yeah. Uh, any other questions in any direction? Gave you guys a crash course in policy, so I appreciate that question, Paul. All right, there's a few guys in here, but it sounds like you probably don't have any questions. If you happen to be watching this on recording, because we'll upload this to our YouTube channel and send it out in an email blast to everybody that wasn't able to make it. I hope this was helpful and informative. You can shoot us an email at support@fromthefarm.org. Jalen will get back to you on that, and if she needs help answering those questions, I'll jump in and do that. So if you're watching the recording, just again, thank you guys for being part of this movement and helping us get this going and get down the road. One thing we didn't talk about is we are launching an apparel line. We hired somebody that's really good at this stuff. Might as well give you all a sneak peek because
I misplaced my hat. I don't know where it is.
oh no.
Yes, I don't know where it is, so I want to buy another one.
Well, we'd love that. What we did was, let's see, let me find this email from our designer. Now, we haven't settled on these designs, so I'm just kind of giving you a sneak peek at some of the stuff that we are looking at doing. And if you want to give us some feedback too while we're looking at that, that would be cool. So here's just some things that we're kind of going through. We actually already have the donkey shirt. That was something we did for an event we did a while back. So we are not printing those again, but we do have some of those. But these are some of the new designs that we're kind of going through to see which ones. And my team is looking too because they haven't seen it yet because I just got it today. So this one plays off the next year's 250 years of America, and so they're calling it the golden age of agriculture, and so we're playing off of that. So couple of different designs here. That one's kind of interesting. Shaking the hand that feeds you and you're shaking a hoof. I don't know if I really like that one, but that's what it is. And so we don't know if we'll choose that one. Real cowboys work cows. There's our logo. Oh, that's something else to share with you guys. We have successfully trademarked this logo here. We also successfully trademarked, which we didn't think we were going to get. We've trademarked from the farm. We were told when we first went to trademark it that you're probably not going to get it because it's too descriptive. Because the amount of times I've heard people on the news say from the farm, but we successfully trademarked that. Now how we defend that's a different discussion, but it is good branding for us. So anyway, these are some of the designs we have. We also trademarked shake the hand that feeds you. So that's ours. That's our slogan. I've been using that for a long time. We actually had to proof first use, which wasn't too difficult, but this is a sticker pack with options for stickers, but then kind of there's the whole catalog, and then different packaging ideas if we get into packaging. So, which packaging is a big deal. We actually have some other packaging designs that we're working on so that when you get your hat, it's not just in a cardboard box with nothing else, which as much as that seems silly, when you launch a brand, all the details matter. And so, but really, that reminded me because that is another source of revenue that will help with your guys' investments as well. And in fact, we've heard of people that, I mean, Brigham met a guy that bought like a multi-million-dollar house because he launched one shirt design in Australia, and it went nuts. So, done right with the right mission and marketing and intention, that could be a pretty good thing for us as well. So, any other questions?
Best way to reach you going forward.
Yep, support at fromthefarm.org be the best way to reach. And then if Jaylyn can help, she will. If not, she'll forward it to me, and I'm happy to jump in and do what I can. So, Paul, you had questions earlier. Go ahead and shoot us that email, and then we'll get connected. So, okay. You guys are amazing. Thanks again. We appreciate you being here. Stay connected with us. We'll, when we do, we have all your emails. So when we do follow up, if it's in the next few months, we'll be sure to email you guys and let you know, hey, let's jump on and check in. So
All right. It's been a blast. Thanks a lot, guys. I appreciate it.
yeah,
Yes.
likewise.
Thank you.
Look forward to seeing you, Paul. So
See you guys.
have a good
Bye.
night.